An athletic glow that had first attracted him was being preyed upon by an invisible vampire. The next evening, over dinner, he broached his proposal and found her receptive. "Wouldn't you miss the city?" "I might. I wouldn't know until I tried it." And so, in a moment, the ground shifted. They would move to the country and work from home. They would look for an affordable house, and if they couldn't find one, they would rent. As editors of corporate and legal documents, they could transfer their small business to just about anywhere. They were established, and in the past 12 months had scarcely been able to keep up with demand. "We'll give it 2 years," Luke told his bemused parents. "It's not as if it's a life sentence." "I warned you about living in Bridge Road," his father said. "It's all that fine particle pollution. It dehydrates the organs. In parts of Los Angeles, babies are being born with shrunken hearts." Good old Ken. Always the optimist. Anna's GP cautioned them against the country. "Asthma rates are just as high in rural areas," she said, "if not more so. It's the wheat dust, among other things." "Well then," said Luke, "we won't settle in wheat country." To her friends, Anna appeared to put up little resistance to this migration, and they assumed she was concerned about her health. What they couldn't know, because she didn't tell them, was that, like her husband, she found herself troubled by a falling away of her youthful élan. There was so much money around, a dizzying spiral of excess, and yet she and Luke struggled. They worked long hours, but still they could not afford anything better than the rental on their cramped apartment. The paint on the ceilings was cracked and peeling, and the rooms were dark with a somber brown varnish on the woodwork. At dinner parties, people spoke solemnly of their renovations. With the air of diplomats renegotiating the Geneva Convention, they discoursed on the problem of installing a second bathroom, or whether they could trust advice from their broker on how to finesse their share portfolio in a volatile market. When she was in her 20s, Anna had thought of herself as bohemian, a free spirit who was serious about the right things and carefree about the rest. But now she was turning into some other woman, a woman on the edge of becoming anxiously acquisitive. Though scornful of the crass material ambitions of others, she was secretly ashamed of the shabbiness of her apartment and fed up with cheap holidays. But this was only material lack. What was worse was the corrosive effect on her goodwill towards the world. That most acidic of beasts, envy, had a fanghold on her heart. She was past 30, she was in a spiritual impasse, and she needed to find a way out of it. One quiet Sunday afternoon, they opened the glove box of their car, took out an assortment of road maps, and laid them out across the kitchen table. Their first task was to get oriented, to compile a list of rural towns and coastal hamlets that had good mobile access and reliable broadband. Next, they Googled these on tourist websites to see if they liked the lie of the land. They knew these virtual postcards could be deceptive, but still it was a beginning, and when they had agreed on a short list, they set off on weekend reconnaissance. Once out on the open road, they felt free again. The further away from the city they drove, the more the world expanded into a mysterious limbo, a potential space waiting to be filled. And to their great delight, on each of these journeys, the boy chose to accompany them. In the claustrophobic spaces of their dark little apartment, his appearances were erratic and unpredictable. But once out on the freeway, they would glance behind them, and there he would be, lap-sashed on the back seat, and with an inquiring look on his face. That dreamy, expectant expression that children get when they are traveling to an unknown destination. And how little they knew about out there. Some inland towns stood frozen in time. A dusty high street, a melancholy war memorial, perhaps a faded mechanics institute from the 1920s, a cafe with chipped Laminex tables, a general store with window displays of headless wooden dummies in drab clothing. But there were other towns that could almost have been outposts of the city, where an art gallery with key limb rugs and carved